Welcome to True Crime Case Files, where we uncover the hidden truths behind some of the most shocking crimes across America. In today's episode, we journey to Spearfish, South Dakota, in early June 2019. A small town known for its scenic beauty became the backdrop for a horrifying murder that exposed dark secrets, broken relationships, and devastating betrayals. Hunter Walsh, an 18-year-old college freshman from Spearfish, South Dakota, was a young man with a bright future. Known for his disarming smile and quick sense of humor, Hunter had recently graduated from Spearfish High School and was preparing to study photojournalism at the University of Chicago. His passion for photography was well known, with his Instagram page filled with striking images of South Dakota's natural beauty and candid portraits of friends. He dreamed of leaving his small hometown and making a name for himself in Chicago's vibrant arts community. However, behind Hunter's charming exterior lay a secret life that few knew about. Over the past year, Hunter had become involved in secret gay sexual relationships with several prominent men in Spearfish. His boyish looks and charismatic personality made him attractive to those who feared being open about their sexuality. Hunter's relationships were more than sexual. He also used them for financial gain. By subtly hinting at the potential for exposure, he convinced his lovers to give him money in exchange for his silence. These payments, which Hunter referred to as gifts, funded his camera equipment and college savings. One of his most notable relationships was with Sheriff Dale Connors, one of the most well-respected figures in Spearfish. Sheriff Connors, 48, was a man deeply conflicted about his hidden sexuality. Shaped by decades of societal expectations and his role in law enforcement, their affair became increasingly fraught as the sheriff began demanding exclusivity, which Hunter refused to give. The situation reached a breaking point on June 3, 2019, when Hunter's best friend and Sheriff Connors' girlfriend, Nicole Myers, walked in on him and Sheriff Connors having sex. Nicole, a 21-year-old college student studying environmental science, had been dating the sheriff for 2 years, unaware of his secret gay sex life. The betrayal hit her hard. That same evening, Nicole confronted the sheriff at a local diner, escalating the argument into a public scene. Witnesses reported that the sheriff became enraged, slamming Hunter against the wall and brutally beating him. Hunter left the diner humiliated and shaken. Friends later said he was unusually quiet in the days that followed. He confided in one friend that he feared Sheriff Connors might retaliate but didn't elaborate further. Hunter also expressed frustration with Nicole, lamenting that their once close friendship was likely ruined forever. Despite his fears, Hunter continued to post photos and videos on Instagram, attempting to maintain a sense of normalcy. By June 6, just days after the diner confrontation, Hunter Walsh would be dead, his promising future cut tragically short. On the morning of June 6, 2019, a group of hikers made a chilling discovery deep in the Black Hills National Forest, just outside Spearfish, South Dakota. Around 9:00 a.m., 55-year-old James Caldwell, a retired school teacher and avid birdwatcher, noticed a strong, unpleasant smell while walking near an old, abandoned cabin he often used as a rest stop. Curious, James approached the cabin and was horrified to find the lifeless body of a young man lying just outside the doorway. The victim, later identified as 18-year-old Hunter Walsh, was partially hidden by debris near the cabin's entrance. His body showed clear signs of a brutal assault, with multiple injuries to his head and upper body. A bloodied wooden baseball bat was found nearby, and a shattered camera lay a few feet from him. The gruesome scene indicated a violent struggle. James immediately called 911, his voice shaking as he reported the discovery. "There's a young man. He's not moving. There's blood everywhere," he told dispatchers. Despite his years of hiking and occasional encounters with injured wildlife, James admitted later that he had never seen anything so horrifying. Law enforcement officers from the Spearfish Police Department and the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office arrived within 20 minutes. The secluded location and rough terrain made reaching the scene challenging, but officers worked quickly to secure the area. By the time police arrived, a small crowd of curious hikers had gathered at a safe distance, whispering in shock about what had happened. Hunter's clothing and belongings, including a torn backpack and scattered photography equipment, were strewn around the area. Investigators also found footprints leading to and from the cabin, suggesting the attacker may have fled on foot. The discovery of his broken Canon EOS AED camera, once a prized possession, seemed to symbolize the sudden and violent end to his bright future. Forensic teams began processing the crime scene immediately, taking photographs and collecting samples of blood, hair, and fibers. Meanwhile, Hunter's body was transported to the local coroner's office for an autopsy. The brutal nature of the crime and the remote location sent shockwaves through the quiet community of Spearfish, where violent crimes were rare and almost always personal. Spearfish police and investigators from the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office arrived at the crime scene within half an hour of James Caldwell's 911 call. The area around the old cabin was quickly cordoned off with yellow police tape as officers began combing through the grim scene. The wooden baseball bat, spattered with blood, was bagged as evidence. The shattered camera, with its memory card intact, became a key piece of evidence. The crime scene itself told a violent story. A struggle inside the cabin had spilled outside, where Hunter Walsh's body was left in the dirt. Detective Maria Lawson, a 10-year veteran of the Spearfish Police Department, led the investigation. Known for her meticulous nature, Lawson focused on uncovering what could have led to such a violent act against the promising young college student. Forensic experts collected hair and fiber samples, took casts of boot prints near the scene, and documented blood spatters. Within hours, Lawson turned her attention to Hunter's personal life, hoping to find clues about who might have wanted him dead. The investigation quickly revealed a shocking side of Hunter's otherwise picture-perfect image. As officers dug into his digital footprint, sexually explicit text messages and emails surfaced, pointing to a string of secret gay relationships with prominent local figures. These messages also suggested Hunter had been involved in extorting these men, threatening to expose their relationships if they didn't pay him money. One of the most damning discoveries came from his phone. Texts exchanged with Sheriff Dale Connors, a respected law enforcement official in the small town. The messages detailed the sexual relationship between the two, which had soured in recent weeks. Tensions between Hunter and the sheriff escalated when Connors demanded more discretion, while Hunter hinted at making their relationship public if Connors didn't comply. As police interviewed residents, another troubling event came to light. 2 days before Hunter's body was found, a confrontation had occurred at Rudy's Diner, a local hangout spot. Witnesses recalled seeing Sheriff Connors, visibly angry, grabbing Hunter by the collar and pushing him into a booth. The argument escalated into a physical altercation, with the sheriff allegedly brutally beating Hunter multiple times before leaving. No formal complaint was filed, the incident was the talk of the town. This revelation cast a shadow on Connor's reputation and added a layer of complexity to the case. Was the sheriff's anger enough to lead to murder, or was there someone else with an even darker motive? Sheriff Dale Connors, 48, was a respected figure in Spearfish, South Dakota. Known for his calm demeanor and dedication to the community, he had built a reputation as a dependable leader in law enforcement. However, police soon uncovered a complicated and secretive side to his life. Dale had been in a clandestine relationship with Hunter Walsh, an arrangement that became increasingly strained as emotions, secrets, and jealousy took their toll. The relationship, investigators learned, began innocently enough. Hunter and Dale met at a local charity event in late 2018, and their connection quickly turned sexual. For Dale, the relationship was a chance to explore a part of himself he had long suppressed. For Hunter, it was another secret gay affair, one of many, that also came with financial benefits. Dale soon became infatuated, pushing for exclusivity in the relationship. But Hunter, fiercely independent and opportunistic, wasn't interested in being tied down, especially when he was involved with other prominent figures in town. Tensions between the two escalated when Nicole Myers, Dale's 21-year-old girlfriend, discovered the affair. Nicole, a spirited college student studying environmental science, had been dating Dale for 2 years. However, Dale later admitted to investigators that Nicole was little more than a beard to quiet rumors about his sexuality. The arrangement worked for a while, but Nicole had no idea she was being used to protect Dale's secret. In early June 2019, Nicole caught Dale and Hunter having sex at Dale's home. The confrontation that followed was explosive. Nicole was furious, calling Dale a secret gay coward and accusing him of lying to her for years. She also turned her anger on Hunter, whom she had once considered her best friend. The fallout left Dale shaken, and he pleaded with Hunter to end his other relationships and stay with them exclusively. Hunter refused. 2 days later, the situation boiled over at Ruby's Diner, where Dale and Hunter were seen in a heated argument. Witnesses described Dale as visibly angry, grabbing Hunter by the collar and shouting at him. The altercation turned physical, with Dale brutally beating Hunter before storming out. When questioned by police, Dale admitted to the fight at the diner but denied any involvement in Hunter's death. His demeanor was calm but defensive, insisting that while their relationship had been troubled, he would never harm Hunter. Despite his denials, his motives, jealousy, betrayal, and fear of exposure, made him a key suspect in the case. Nicole Myers, 21, was a fiercely independent and passionate college student studying environmental science at Black Hills State University. With her quick wit and strong convictions, Nicole had always been the type to fight for what she believed in. But when it came to love, she wore her heart on her sleeve. For 2 years, Nicole believed she had found the love of her life in Sheriff Dale Connors. Despite their 27-year age gap, she described him as charming, steady, and protective. In many ways, Dale represented the stability she had craved after a tumultuous childhood. Nicole's dream of a future with Dale shattered in early June 2019. The discovery was as devastating as it was unexpected. Nicole walked into Dale's home one evening, only to find him naked and engaging in a sexual act with her best friend, Hunter Walsh. The betrayal was double-edged. Dale wasn't just cheating. He was having sex with another man, her best friend, someone Nicole had trusted implicitly. The confrontation was explosive. Nicole was outraged, screaming at Dale and Hunter in disbelief. Dale, caught off guard, tried to explain, but his excuses only made things worse. Nicole turned her fury toward Hunter, accusing him of destroying her relationship. For Hunter, it was just another complicated moment in a life full of secret sex, but for Nicole, it was earth-shattering. As the shock wore off, Nicole began piecing together other moments in their relationship that now made sense. Dale's reluctance to be physically affectionate, his frequent excuses to avoid public displays of affection, and his odd behavior around certain people, all pointed to one painful truth. Nicole had been a beard, a cover for Dale's hidden sexuality. When Dale eventually admitted this, Nicole was devastated. She felt humiliated, used, and discarded. In the days following this revelation, Nicole's emotions spiraled. Her heartbreak turned to anger, and her fury was directed squarely at Hunter. Investigators later uncovered a series of heated and text messages Nicole sent to Hunter during the week of his death. In these messages, she accused him of betrayal and deceit, calling him a backstabbing gay and a man-loving destroyer of lives. One text read, "You'll regret ever bleeping with me. I promise you that." When questioned by police, Nicole initially denied any involvement in Hunter's death. Her demeanor was defensive but composed. She admitted to the texts, explaining that they were written in a moment of anger and heartbreak. "I just wanted to hurt him the way he hurt me," she told investigators, her voice trembling. She insisted that her anger was purely emotional and not physical. Still, Nicole's texts painted a troubling picture. Combined with her knowledge of Dale and Hunter's relationship and her intense feelings of betrayal, police could not rule her out as a suspect. Her once bright dreams of environmental activism and love had been overshadowed by a storm of anger and heartbreak, leaving her at the center of a chilling investigation. In July 2019, the investigation into Hunter Walsh's murder took a shocking turn. While detectives initially focused on Nicole Myers and Sheriff Dale Connors as the main suspects, new evidence revealed a twist neither the public nor law enforcement saw coming. This revelation unraveled a complex web of betrayal, manipulation, and desperation, fundamentally shifting the direction of the case. The break came from a forensic analysis of Hunter's phone and laptop, which detectives had seized early in the investigation. While the initial search revealed the damning text messages from Nicole and his sexual connections to Sheriff Connors, a deeper dive into Hunter's encrypted files painted a far more complicated picture. Investigators discovered a hidden folder labeled Backup, containing videos, photos, and emails documenting Hunter's secret relationships with multiple prominent figures in Spearfish. Among them were influential business owners such as local real estate mogul J.B. Haskins, a local pastor, and even a city councilman. The most startling discovery, however, was a video dated just days before Hunter's death. In it, Hunter could be seen arguing with Sheriff Connors in what appeared to be a heated confrontation. Connors, visibly angry, shouts, "This stops now, Hunter. You don't know what you're messing with." The footage also captured Connors admitting he felt trapped by his double life, confessing, "You don't understand what it's like to live in fear every day." While this evidence added weight to suspicions against Connors, it was another piece of digital evidence that brought a startling twist. Detectives found a draft email on Hunter's laptop addressed to a reporter for BuzzFeed News. In it, Hunter threatened to expose not only Connors but also his other relationships, claiming he had enough dirt to bring South Dakota to its knees. The email, however, was never sent. When questioned about the confrontation captured on video, Connors admitted to having a heated exchange with Hunter but denied any involvement in his death. Nicole, meanwhile, admitted to feeling betrayed and angry but maintained that her anger never turned physical. The twist came when further analysis revealed an anonymous burner phone number in contact with Hunter shortly before his death. The phone was traced back to someone neither Nicole nor Dale had mentioned, J.B. Haskins, a local figure tied to one of Hunter's extortion schemes. This revelation added a new suspect to the mix and raised questions about whether Hunter's murder was a crime of passion or a premeditated act of silencing him for good. The new evidence significantly broadened the scope of the investigation, leaving Spearfish residents reeling as they speculated who else might be involved in the scandal surrounding Hunter's tragic death. In July 2019, as investigators dug deeper into the life and death of Hunter Walsh, another suspect emerged, local businessman J.B. Haskins. Known in Spearfish as a wealthy philanthropist and owner of a popular car dealership, Haskins had carefully maintained a clean public image. But police discovered a darker side to his story, tied to his secretive gay relationship with Hunter Walsh. Detectives uncovered evidence that Haskins and Hunter had engaged in a covert sexual relationship earlier in the year. Their encounters were kept under wraps until Hunter began demanding money in exchange for his silence. Text messages between the two revealed Hunter had extorted Haskins for a staggering $37,000 over several months, threatening to expose their affair if Haskins didn't pay. In one text, Hunter wrote, "Pay up, you little fairy, or your perfect little world comes crashing down." Haskins, fearing public and family humiliation, complied with Hunter's demands but grew increasingly resentful. The investigation into Haskins revealed another shocking layer: a 2 decades-long secret relationship with Sheriff Dale Connors. Evidence from phone records and emails pointed to a romantic and physical relationship between the two men dating back more than 20 years, to 1988. Both men, however, had maintained public personas as straight, with Haskins married and Connors dating Nicole Myers, his beard. For Haskins, Hunter wasn't just an extortionist. He was also a threat to the secret he and Connors had kept hidden for so long. Witness reports placed Haskins near the woods where Hunter's body was found on the night of the murder. A jogger told police she saw a car matching the description of Haskins' silver Lexus, parked along a secluded trail entrance around 9:30 p.m. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station captured a similar vehicle heading toward the area about an hour before Hunter was last seen alive. When confronted, Haskins admitted to being in the vicinity, but claimed he had gone for a late-night drive to clear his head. He denied having any contact with Hunter that night, though investigators were skeptical of this story. The revelation of Haskins' connection to both Hunter and Connors added another layer of intrigue to an already complex case. Was Haskins driven to kill Hunter to protect his secrets and his long-standing relationship with Connors, or was he simply in the wrong place at the wrong time? The evidence pointed to more than coincidence, and police continued to press Haskins for answers. In the early hours of June 5, 2019, Nicole Myers reached her breaking point. After days of emotional turmoil, her heartbreak over losing both her boyfriend, Sheriff Dale Connors, and her best friend, Hunter Walsh, boiled into uncontrollable rage. At the remote cabin where she and Hunter had often confided in each other, Nicole confronted him about his betrayal. She felt humiliated, disposable, and furious, knowing Hunter's actions had exposed her as nothing more than a pawn in Dale's hidden life. Hunter, ever brash and unapologetic, dismissed her accusations, fueling her anger further. In the heat of the moment, Nicole spotted a weathered baseball bat leaning against the wall, a relic of cabin outings past. Seizing it in her trembling hands, she swung in a blind fury. One blow after another rained down on Hunter as he begged for mercy. The rage overtook her, and when the dust settled, Hunter lay lifeless on the cabin floor. Panicked, Nicole devised a plan to shift suspicion away from herself and onto Dale. She knew that exposing Dale's secret gay relationships would destroy his career and reputation, whether or not he was convicted of murder. She staged the scene to implicate him, planting items from Dale's truck, a monogrammed glove and cigarette butts Dale frequently smoked, around the cabin. She then wiped her fingerprints from the bat and fled, leaving behind a grisly tableau meant to frame her former lover. In the days after the murder, Nicole oscillated between guilt and defiance. She justified her actions as revenge for Hunter's betrayals and Dale's deceit. But as the investigation zeroed in on her, the walls began to close in. Police had uncovered heated text messages Nicole sent to Hunter, including one that read, "You deserve everything coming your way." Security footage also placed her car near the cabin the night of the murder. Under pressure, Nicole's alibi unraveled. Forensic evidence contradicted her claims of being elsewhere, and investigators pieced together her motive and opportunity. On July 20, 2019, officers arrested Nicole at her parents' home. Her arrest was a bitter moment. Nicole sobbed as she was handcuffed, confessing, "I didn't mean for it to go that far." Yet deep inside, she felt a twisted sense of vindication for taking control of her pain, even as it destroyed her life. Nicole Meyer's trial began in February 2020, just months after her arrest for the brutal murder of Hunter Walsh. As the courtroom filled with onlookers, including some of the townspeople who knew both Nicole and Hunter, the atmosphere was tense. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Brianna Williams, argued that Nicole's actions were premeditated and driven by a combination of jealousy, rage, and betrayal. They painted a picture of a woman scorned, who, in a fit of anger, killed Hunter to punish him for exposing the secrets of her relationship with Sheriff Dale Connors. Nicole's defense attorney, Mark Stapler, however, claimed that his client was temporarily insane at the time of the murder. He argued that Nicole's emotional state had been shattered by the discovery of her boyfriend's infidelity and Hunter's extortion. Stapler suggested that the overwhelming pressure of dealing with the shocking truth about Dale's secret life led Nicole to lose control, unable to distinguish right from wrong in the heat of the moment. She wasn't herself, Stapler told the jury. She was temporarily crazy, and her actions were a tragic result of that mental break. The prosecution countered by pointing out the methodical way Nicole staged the scene to implicate Dale, indicating that she had full control over her actions. They also presented forensic evidence showing that Hunter had been struck repeatedly, making it clear that Nicole had acted with clear intent. Text messages from Nicole to Hunter, found on his phone, were used to show the deep resentment she harbored towards him, as well as her knowledge of his extortion schemes. After several weeks of deliberations, the jury returned a verdict of guilty of second-degree murder. The defense's attempt to claim temporary insanity was not enough to convince the jury that Nicole should be held less accountable. While the verdict was a relief to some, others in the small community of Pine Valley felt that justice was still incomplete. Many continued to sympathize with Nicole, believing that her emotional breakdown was understandable given the betrayal she had endured. At her sentencing hearing, the judge sentenced Nicole to 25 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Her attorneys, Mark Stapler and his co-counsel Rachel Turner, had hoped for a reduced sentence, but the judge was firm in her decision, stating that the brutality of the crime and Nicole's manipulation of the evidence made it clear she was fully responsible for her actions. As Nicole was led away in handcuffs, she whispered to her attorney, "I never meant for it to go this far." The courtroom remained silent, the weight of the tragedy settling over everyone. The fallout from Hunter Walsh's murder left a lasting impact on the small town. Nicole Myers, now serving a 25-year sentence for her role in the killing, became a symbol of betrayal and heartbreak. Her trial had captivated the town, and many were still processing the events that led to Hunter's death. Nicole had been sentenced in February 2020, and her life was now confined to the cold walls of a state prison. While her attorneys had tried to argue that her emotional breakdown had led to the murder, the jury had found her guilty, and the judge had imposed a harsh sentence. Sheriff Dale Connors, once a respected figure in the town, resigned from his position just days after Nicole's sentencing. The scandal surrounding his secret sexual relationship with Hunter and his involvement in the dramatic events leading up to the murder made it impossible for him to continue in law enforcement. His resignation was abrupt, and the town was left stunned. As for Dale, he made a dramatic and unexpected change in his life. In the months following his resignation, it was reported that he had rekindled a relationship with Gibby Haskins, the man who had been extorted by Hunter for years. The two had been secretly involved for over 2 decades, and Dale's emotional breakdown over Hunter's murder seemed to have brought the couple closer together. By late 2020, Dale and GB had decided to leave Pine Valley behind and start fresh in West Hollywood, California, where the two could live openly without fear of judgment. The couple's move was widely covered by the media, and their decision to leave the small town behind seemed like an escape from the years of lies and turmoil. In West Hollywood, Dale and GB found a new life away from the small-town scandals that had followed them for so long. They settled into a modest apartment and began attending events within the LGBT+ community, where they were able to be themselves without fear. As the months passed, they announced their engagement, shocking no one who had followed their story. In early 2021, the two were married in a private ceremony, attended by close friends and family who had supported them through their difficult journey. Thank you for joining us for this episode of True Crime Case Files. Hunter Walsh's story is a haunting reminder of how secrets and betrayal can shatter lives. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we uncover another chilling tale of crime and justice.